Connection and purpose is so important and something we can learn to value even more. We can aspire to really feel into what it means to actually be connected to ourselves, to each other, and the whole purpose of our communication, right? And to how we value our relationships. And there is someone very special who's going to help us along with that. And her name is Tammy J. Cohen. I am so excited for you all to meet her today on Awaken and Ascend. She is the author of Text Messages to My Sons, which is an award-winning book. And she is now coming out soon to be released, an expanded version that will support parents to be able to even more deeply connect with their children. And I love Tammy. Thank you so much for being here, by the way, that your mission is really all about sending those messages to the kids, messages of hope and inspiration and love and sharing some wisdom and taking the time to do that every single day. So thank you so much for being here and bringing this into our awareness of how we can connect even more deeply, especially parents and kids.
So, Jennifer, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on your podcast and your show. And I've got news for you. I admire the work you're doing. You're
Thank
lighting the
you.
path, and you're bringing a lot of light and good energy and positivity into the space of the world today, which is really vital.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And I know that besides your book, you also are the founder of Women Beyond the Table, right? Helping and empowering women to really support them in thriving personally and professionally. So I am grateful that we are
Thank
here
you.
together and
And
doing the
and
work
and we're
that we
lucky that
do.
we were connected to each other, right?
I
Huh?
know. Yeah, that's the power of networking, right? And connection and being on purpose in our lives. And so I'm really curious, Tammy, how you became so passionate about your work and what you're doing right now, especially when it comes to these books and the one coming out so soon. I'm so excited.
Well, it's a really good question. How did it start? So at the very start of the pandemic, we all had a chance to we didn't have a chance. We were locked down. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't really work. And things were in disarray. It was a very scary and challenging time for a lot of people. There was a lot of things going on that we just didn't have any control of because it was really our circle of concern that was calling the shots. And we just kind of felt like, okay, this is what we have to deal with.
Mm,
So at that time, for me, it was a blessing in disguise because I had to sit back and I had to like really take stock of myself and my life. I had been very busy with work. I was traveling a lot for clients and I was nonstop. And during the pandemic, I watched my income and my business like literally cut in half very quickly.
mm,
So I had time to think like, what do I want? Who am I? And what's going on? And I realized I had a lot of limiting beliefs about myself and I wasn't very happy and that I wasn't okay. And I realized that. So I said, okay, now I have a chance to learn, chance to grow, a chance
mm,
to try to figure out what's not right. If you would ask me, back in 2020, like, what do you want? Who are you? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want
mm,
to do? Like, what do you think? I would have been like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm fine. Like if you would ask me how things are, I'd be like, I'm fine. I'm busy.
mhm,
Busy,
mhm.
busy's good, right? We're told busy's so good. Oh, I'm never home. That's so good. So basically, I said, okay, all of a sudden this world was opening up of like online world that I really
Mm,
hadn't partaken of that much because I was busy.
mhm,
So a friend of mine invited me because there was all the riots that were going on in New York and the protesting and everything. It was a very scary time because they were
wow.
trashing and breaking windows and stealing. And there was this like I woke up. I live on 57th and Third, and everything's boarded up. Madison and Fifth Avenue, everything's boarded up. And I've been living in New York for a very long time. I was born here. I never saw that. So it was very traumatizing. So a friend of mine was like, hey, Deepak Chopra, I'm running his group, 3 week meditation challenge. You want in? Because I was like, I'm flipping it.
Mhm,
So I started meditating and I got exposed. And then all of a sudden I found myself with Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, Joe
mhm,
Dispenza. I was
mhm.
Lifebook, Mind Valley. I was all over Mind Valley. I was getting so into it. I was reading books and I was thought leaders like Tao Te Ching and Marcus Aurelius. Like, I was just lighting up, and it was fascinating. And I said, you know what? I'm learning such cool stuff. I want to share this with my kids because they don't teach us in college, in high school. They don't teach it in school. They just don't teach you about confidence or affirmations or how to build character or
Mhm.
how to go back and like understand where a lot of these thoughts come from and how to what's a sabotaging thought, any of this stuff. They just don't teach kids gratitude and appreciation. Very
Mhm.
simple concepts, but they're not so
Mhm.
simple. So I said I want to share it with my kids. So it was
Mhm.
perfect because everybody was texting, and we all have this. We all have a phone. It's either in our pocket, in our hands, it's in a bag, it's somewhere. It's very much within reach. Everybody's on their phone. So I realized with my kids, if I'm going to do this, I need to connect to them where they are, not where I want them to be. Jennifer, I grew up in a completely different time warp
Yeah.
where everybody had in-person conversations. The phone was
Before there was
attached
the
to a
internet,
cord.
right? Like
There was no internet. The
we
phone
didn't
was
have
attached
that.
to a cord. You're like, it only goes so
Yeah,
far. You
right.
watch TV with your parents.
Hmm.
You played outside with your friends. It was very different.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised in the city. I was raised outside of the city. So it was just very different than what my kids experienced. But I knew I not only had to reach them where they were at, but I had to do it with no expectations that they were going to respond. It had to
Hmm.
be just me reaching out. So what happened was I wanted to share wisdom. I wanted to share what I was learning, that I started kind of getting so into sharing with them how much I love them, how much
Hmm.
they mean to me, and how worthy they are, and how extraordinary they are, and the value that they have. And I started talking about resilience and challenges and things that were like coming to me because once you start making a commitment to do a habit, my habit was texting them a message every day, Monday through Friday, because I see them, Friday night, I see them on the weekends. But I was like, once you start doing that habit, it just becomes heart centered. It just starts, you start like, it's almost like poetry coming out. And what
Mm.
happened was the high of sending a message of love and gratitude, inspiration, of sharing accountability, like being accountable and doing these things. What happened was I would get like this energy boost. When I would send it,
Mm.
I felt like this energy, this really positive, high frequency energy was coming out of me. And I feel like they also were receiving that when they read it. Like it made them light up too. And they, like I said, I didn't expect anything back. And so that's basically how this all came about. And it became eventually the first book, the first, 2 years of messages, because I would tell colleagues and friends, like, oh, this is what I do with my kids. And they were like, oh my God, it's amazing. You need to put that in a book. And I didn't know how to write a book. And I didn't set out to be an author. I want to make that really clear. I had to figure out how to write a book and how to publish it. I work with an editor, editing services, but I didn't know anything. And the first book was just pure love. I put it out, and I learned a lot. I learned so much that I was able to, and it won awards too, which was really exciting. And I was able to actually pivot. Now I work with a publisher, and where the second book is coming out, God willing, at the beginning of May, which is coming up soon, 2025. And I was able to really embrace this book and have the things in it that I realized I didn't have in the first book, because I learned a lot over the past year, and a lot's happened that's transformed me and made me realize this is a mission. This isn't
Mhm.
just sharing messages with my kids. This is a
Mhm.
mission that I'm on. So that's pretty much in the long story, short story, but that's it.
Yeah, I love this mission. And you're right, busy, right? We're just so habitual in that we don't even think about who we are, why we're here, what we're doing, and why we're even doing it, right? We just go. And there is this persona of busyness, right? That's kind of taken over our lives. And you are busy. You're a mother of three sons. You're married. You're a founder of the Women Beyond the Table. You're author, podcaster. You're doing all of these things. And others too, and taking on all these different roles, working on these different hats. But then, like you say, your phone is right within reach, and you take that moment, few minutes even, and you write something, and you're in that place of love, in that place of gratitude, and you connect. You connect with that energy, you connect with that love, you connect with that gratitude, and you share that wisdom that's filled you up through all of these different gurus and allies and coaches and inspiration that you had, and you share that inspiration and it fills you up even more, like into this overflowing. And that's what love and gratitude does. It raises our vibration. When we get to share that, then we just keep expanding and spreading that love and that gratitude and that wisdom and that inspiration. And I'm curious, Tammy, how your sons responded to that. I know you said you had no expectation. It's just you reaching out to them, taking those few minutes, but how did they respond to that?
Well, it's really interesting. My sons are very supportive. They were very involved. They're very involved with the books and how it goes about because I wanted to make them part of that. It's our thing, right? But
Mm-hmm.
my sons wrote the foreword to the book because to the books because what they wanted people to know is that makes them feel bulletproof getting these
Mm-hmm.
messages. Things can go sideways, but when you get a message like of love and gratitude and you get this kind of messaging from somebody that loves you enough to do it, that takes the
Mm-hmm.
time to do it, that cares, it means everything for them.
Yeah.
It means everything. Look, I don't care who you are. You want to know every kid. I don't care what they say. They want to know that their parent, as adults too, your parent loved you. Your
Mm-hmm.
parent thought you were worthy. Your parent respected you, and it matters a lot. I have gotten so many comments from readers. I wish my mother told me she loved me. I wish somebody sent me a message like this that let me know everything was going to be okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, I wish you were my mother. I mean, I've gotten a lot of very heartfelt messages that we're
Wow.
all looking for that. So, what is depression? What is depression in people? It's lack of purpose, but it's lack of connection. It's disconnection. If
Mm-hmm.
you take that step, and it doesn't have to be just with your kids. You don't need to have kids to connect to somebody to
Mm-hmm.
give them that feeling that somebody cares about them. Somebody needs it, whether it's another family member, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a partner, whether it's somebody who's a friend who's going through something and you're just there to
Mm-hmm.
help them through it. Like, this is what we need to do
Mm-hmm.
because we're living in a world that has a lot of very low vibrating energy, a lot of hate, a lot of violence, a lot of misinformation, a lot of indoctrination going on. And I feel like it's our journey. It's for us to
Mm-hmm.
override that because
Mm-hmm.
love, gratitude, these kind of emotions really
Mm-hmm.
resonate. They vibrate at very high frequencies, and
Mm-hmm.
hate and anger and despair and fear vibrate very low energy. So what's gonna win? I mean, the high vibrating is going to take over. The problem is, as much as we like using our mobile devices, they make things easier for us. They're also designed to what algorithms are created and designed to steal your focus, to steal your attention 24/7. Their business
Mm-hmm.
model is to over engage you. So, what do people respond to? Train wrecks, unfortunately. What are they looking at? You're looking at something that's disturbing and it feeds you more of it. Before you
Mm-hmm.
know it, you're becoming indoctrinated. So, it was
Mm-hmm.
important for me, and I think it's important for everybody to override that, to become that source and that exchange with my sons, and they're grown men, they're 31, 29, and 24,
Mm-hmm.
to have those exchanges with because I don't want anybody indoctrinating my kids. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be the one to share that information. So my husband just walked in and I didn't message him to that I'm on an interview. So sorry about for the bang. But anyway, that's what's really important. And that's how I see it. So
Yeah.
you have this twofold. I mean, October 7th was a big turning point for me. October 4th, my first book came out,
Mm-hmm.
2023. And then October 7th happened. And I saw firsthand hate, indoctrination as a Jew. I really saw what was going on. And
Mm-hmm.
it really made me understand that this is bigger than what I thought. It's not just me sharing connections to my kids. That's important. But there's a bigger thing. There's a bigger picture. This is a mission. We have to get everybody on board to do the opposite of what's going on social media
Mm-hmm.
and these digital platforms right now. And
Mm-hmm.
then, over time and now into 2025, when the next book is coming out, I've been dealing with my own challenges, health challenges. I was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. And that's a whole journey that I'm going on. But I realized something, Jennifer. Like every message I sent my kids, I've been messaging myself as well. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize that.
Oh.
Like I had to do this. I had to go through this. So you can't message resilience and about overcoming challenges and the pivot and fear is a mind killer, not to operate from fear and how life gives you gifts. They're not bad things. Life is your friend. Like you can't message this to people and you can't put it out there and not take it in for yourself. So when you need it, you realize these messages are I'm every message I write, I'm incorporating here. It's for me
Hmm.
too. So
Hmm.
that was the other thing that I learned besides October 7th and my mission. My mission is to get people to message because they'll be messaging themselves and connecting further to themselves
Hmm.
besides the loved one, besides their, extended family, their kids, their friends. It's for you too.
Hmm.
So that's why it really expanded, how everything expanded for me, which with this expanded new edition.
Amazing, amazing. And it has expanded so much. But with the love and the gratitude as well, that's expanded now. And this is calling, has become your mission, your drive, your passion. And it really speaks to the way that I see passion, because when you break up the word, it's pass I on. And that I is your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime, which you recognize is your mission to share these messages of connection, of purpose. And I love the response you were getting from the readers, and it sounded like mainly women that you shared about so far, about that wounded child, right? I wish you were my mother. I wish I heard I love you from my parent, and wishing that for themselves, right? Wishing that they heard that and the impact you had on these women. And as the founder of Women Beyond the Table, helping women, empowering them to thrive personally and professionally, what do you say to those women that are feeling that inner child woundedness that's coming up for them? How can
Well, I
they
don't, it's
override that or acknowledge that in a way that now helps them thrive?
well, it's really interesting because a lot those messages were from men.
Oh, really?
Women were like, oh,
Okay. My
women were
assumption.
like,
Yeah.
I love this. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Like
Uh-huh.
everybody was kind of like, this is the best book to read because it's so easy to read. It's written entirely in text message format. So it's
Mm-hmm.
quicker read and people
Okay.
don't have to there's no character development. There's no like
Mm.
storytelling. So you're not missing. You can jump from any chapter you want. So the chapters are mindfulness and uh, discipline and determination, accountability and mindfulness,
Oh.
love and
Uh-huh.
family, gratitude, appreciation. So you have these different chapters that you can jump around and look at messages. There are a lot of dads out there who really love their kids and they don't know how to talk to them about it.
Hmm.
But they're very comfortable texting. There's also a lot. So that was for them. This was like a great thing. And yeah, they wish somebody had done it with them. Nobody gave them those messages. Women are brought up more, even to today, as the nurturer. We're the multitasking, right? We're taking care of everybody. We're serving
Right.
everybody. We're helping her. Men are like, go to work, be a man, make a living kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
have this. They're looking for ways to share it, and this helped them. And they also acknowledge the fact I wasn't raised to think about like love or to show it. It wasn't done that way. And
Wow.
also we have a lot of, divorces, of course, and different kinds of family parenting styles going on. So sometimes the father can't see the kid. It's not the relationship between the parents is not happening, and the father
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get to see the children. So this gives them a way to communicate, like, I love you. I'm not seeing you. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I think about you every day.
Oh,
One day we're
yeah.
going to be able to see each other. This means a lot to the kid,
Uh,
you know?
uh-huh.
So, but with our group, with Women Beyond the Table, it's a very supportive, it's an amazing community of very supportive women. So they do exchange services because they like and trust each other, but that's not what drives the group. What drives the group is non-judgmental, supportive women who are listen, who you can go to and you can ask a question and you can share something and you won't get ridiculed or challenged or judged because
Mm.
that's a whole thing. Judgment's a whole thing, right? That won't happen, but they can connect you, or you can connect with somebody and connect them to somebody else who can answer a question, who can help them. So it's more about leveraging social capital. And I think a lot of women who I've spoken to, especially over the past couple of years, you don't know people's stories, right?
Hmm.
Everybody has a mask on. You think, oh, it looks great, right? They say they're fine. And then they start telling you their stories, and you hear about the abuse, you hear about the challenges, you hear about some things, and you're just like you can't even believe what some people have endured. But just like I said, listening
Hmm.
and being supportive and being their friend and telling them that, everything will be better. There are better days coming, that they're here to learn. Like we're an earth school. This is all
Yeah.
about earth school. Like we're here
Hmm.
for a reason to learn. But I find a lot of these women, I'm telling them, I admire you. I think you're incredible because you've managed to take every bump in that road and every pothole and every crater in that road and keep going and go forward and move forward one step at a time. And look where you're at.
Hmm.
It's like that to me. And that's like the empowering part where you empower each other. Because if you listen to somebody's story, you know, you can't help but be in awe of them and you can't help but admire them. And that energy and that's what really helps them feel way better and
Hmm.
also be proud of who they are. Everybody's been through a lot of stuff, I think, in their lives, and they don't even probably realize it, or they do realize it, but it's how it is. But we're not stuck, you know?
Hmm.
We're not stuck. It's never too late. It's never too late to say, I want to feel differently. I want to act differently. I want to try something different. And that's what I say to everybody. It's never too late. You can do anything you want. Take one step. You don't have to have a
Absolutely.
plan. You don't have to worry about what's it going to cost, what's it going to be like, how much time is it going to take. Take one step.
Hmm.
Motivation happens after the first step. Take
Hmm.
one step. Then you know what? I believe in God. God's going to open up the next step for you. You took a
Hmm.
step, the next step's going to show itself. And guess what? You're going to get connected to the person who's going to help you with another step
Hmm.
because you're already, starting. You're taking the walk. So
You're on
that's
your
it. I
way.
say one step, just one. Don't worry about anything else. Don't think about anything else.
I love that. Just, keep what's true in front of you. Take that one step and being open to the possibilities, even expecting the unexpected. Like you said in the beginning, you didn't go out to go write this book, right? And
Yeah.
yet it's become your mission, your calling, and now there's this expanded version of you and the book that's coming out very soon. We're going to have the links to that below, but I want you, Tammy, to share a little bit about more about what people are going to expect in this expanded version. I know you touched on that a little bit, and then how they can access it as well.
Okay, so this is another great question. So, what's different? So, the expanded version has literally twice as many messages because it's more years of messages. Because I never stopped messaging. Just because I wrote a book doesn't mean I stopped messaging a message.
Good.
And the funny thing is, with the first book, when I was doing interviews, it was like, "Well, when are you writing the next book?" And I'm like, "I'm not. I just released a book, and I wasn't planning to be an author." Well, you asked me about the next book, and here's another book, right? So that's crazy.
Wow.
But I each chapter now, first of all, there are more chapters in the book, and I added the accountability chapter, which didn't exist before because I found it very important to be accountable to my kids because there was many, many times that I didn't say things over the years that wasn't to them. It wasn't about them, but they were the ones who the trigger happened because I wasn't okay, I wasn't happy, and I wanted them to know it was never them. It was never they were never the they whatever I said or whatever I did or however I acted wasn't them. They did nothing wrong. It was me.
Mm.
It was my problem. And I wanted to like set something straight that I wasn't proud of the way I acted. And when I became more accountable, I started thinking about all the messages about accountability that I had. I wanted to put it into its own chapter. And when I started having more accountability with my kids, they saw me as a human being besides being their mom. I became a human, I became a human being to them that I can do this. And if you want your kids or you want anybody else to be accountable, you have to model it. You have to be accountable. It wasn't easy, but I did it. Every chapter has an introduction now that didn't happen before. So it's all about why message your loved ones, why message your kids about gratitude and appreciation, why message them about love and family, why message them about leadership and focus, Why these concepts? Why about mindfulness? Um, why? Because, like I said before, it's not something we talk about. It's not something they're taught necessarily. So I
Hmm.
wanted to have all the messages that align with those topics and concepts easy to access. So I have the opening is the introduction as to why, and each chapter has reflection, a closing reflection that
Oh,
talks
wow.
about what we came about and what I wish for my sons and what I wish for the reader. And then at the end, there's an epilogue that takes the reader like, okay, here you are. Here's all these messages. What you do now is up to you. You have the tools you need to start doing this and to start changing that energy exchange and start deepening that connection. Because
Mhm.
every message in this book is here for you to take and tweak it and make it your own. But I promise you, once you start the habit, and it's a very easy habit, it takes a couple of minutes a day. Figure out how many minutes you have in a day, in an hour. And it's like a lot of minutes. You could take
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes. And then you can't think of a message, you don't know how to start. Take these messages, tweak it, make it your own. But I promise you, within no time, every message you're going to write is going to come from you. It's going to come from your heart. It's going to be your own poetry. And you're going to notice things. And you're going to talk about things with your loved one that you never even noticed before because you're going to be more present while you're doing it. So you
Hmm.
have a blueprint here to help you, and then it'll become yours. You'll do it. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
the difference with this book. And also their editorial reviews. I have editorial reviews now. It's award winning. It's a whole different thing. So than it was the first time around.
It's taking a whole life of its own.
Yes, another life. New
And the
covers, everything.
topics.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah, and the topics are amazing, Tammy. Like it's it comes across to me like you're even instilling these values in your kids, right? And with each other. Like anyone who reads this book is going to feel valued and instill those values of the different themes and the topics that you presented there. And I think it's really wonderful to be able to share those kind of messages, not just like, oh, hey, I'm thinking about you, or what time are you going to be home for dinner, or, did you
Well,
pick this
those are
up,
different
or,
messages.
those little like, how are you? Like just kind of like surface level stuff, right? But
Well,
you're talking
yeah,
about like
it's definitely
real topics, like you're going deeper.
yeah. My
Yeah.
kids say,
Hmm.
your messages are very long sometimes. I'm like, I know, but like I had a lot to say. It's not a one and done. Like it's not like, hey, I love you,
Yeah.
and then you don't say it for
You're
another
done.
month,
Yeah.
And it's not a reprimand or command or a reminder. Those are the kind of
Yeah.
messages I used to send. Where are you? What do you want? Meet me.
Right?
You forgot this.
Yeah.
Need this. Where are you? Like
Yeah.
those were different messages, and I don't
Hmm.
even send those type of messages. The only time I'll
No.
say something that's not a message like that's of love and gratitude, I'll be like, please call me because they're not speaking, they're not talking on, nobody's calling anymore, even speaking on the
Mm.
phone. I own a restaurant. My husband and I have a restaurant on the Upper East Side of Manhattan,
Oh.
and you see people come in and they're sitting at tables and they'll be talking, and then all of a sudden all the phones are coming out and they're looking at their phones or they're taking pictures of the food and posting. It's fascinating to me. People just aren't that engaged as much face to face. It's how I grew up, but it's not how it is now. So
No.
yeah, so that's the difference.
Yeah, and even the energy, you talked about the energy exchange. Like it's not frantic, okay, I'll just, send a quick message as if it's part of your to-do list just so you've done it, right? No, it's coming from a place of love and
Mm.
connection. And that's the energy exchange too,
Yeah, and a lot of
right?
times I don't even,
Hmm.
I'm like, what? Sometimes I'll say, oh, this, I want to talk about this, and I'll think about it for a message. But a lot of times I just start writing and it's like things come because,
Hmm.
things just come in that moment. Like, oh, wow, I want to talk about that. Or I'll share something that I read that's fascinating. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's gotten to that
Hmm.
point where it just kind of, it's just there.
It
It
just
comes and I'm
flows
like,
now.
yeah,
Hmm.
how do I still have messages? I'm doing this for years, but it's amazing. They still come.
It's a
Yeah.
lot to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
right.
it's really about connection and not just sharing information, right? And I love that for you, Tammy. I love that for your sons. I love that for the readers. I love that this new expanded version is coming out because it just shows just how much we are expanding even though it doesn't always look like that. But things are accelerating right now. We are elevating as a human species. We are evolving, and we need that deeper connection, that deeper sense of love and gratitude and clarity and all of those things to expand even more into a fuller expression of who we are and what our relationships represent and what our calling is. Like you really standing in integrity of this mission and fully driven to continue pursuing this. And so we're going to have the links for the book down below and also ways of contacting. Tammy's going to be in there, but I do want to swing back because like you were talking about in the moment, like what's coming through. I want to ask the audience that if there's anything coming through for you right now, is there anything that's standing out that you want to comment on or ask about or question? There's room to do that below in the comments. Give us a like if you've been enjoying this. And Tammy, what if people want to connect with you directly?
Well, I just want to say the name of the book, because I don't know who actually got the new book, is the next edition is Text Messages to My Sons. That's the overall, name of the series that I do. Text Messages to My Sons, a guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids. So that's the overall name of it. And it's available on Amazon and in book retailers. And those links will be added, but it's probably easiest on Amazon. And for now, I'm in the middle of updating my website and doing some work there. So the best place to reach me would be either at Text Messages to My Sons, which is on Instagram, or Tammy J. Cohen, which is on Instagram and on LinkedIn. So either way, and I'll respond.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for offering a way to do that. And is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience today, Tammy?
You know what? I really enjoyed this conversation and I appreciate being on. And yeah, if you like the power to connect is with every single one of us. It's
Mm.
just one message at a time. I said, take one step, send one message. Like you just start. And
Mm.
that's the most important thing. But remember, you're not just going to be connecting to others, you're going to really connect to yourself while doing this.
Yeah, really connect with how that feels when you do it. I love Tammy when you mentioned how full in love and like this little boost of energy you got just from doing that. So I'd love to hear from the audience how that goes for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to us on Awaken and Ascend. I'm Jennifer Regular, the host, and also the Soul Illuminator at Lighting the Path. And there's more information about what I do outside of the show down below if you want to check that out too. And I just want to appreciate you, Tammy, for being here and sharing with us. And congratulations on the book. Can't wait till that gets out there for everyone to see and read and
Yes, it's on
experience.
pre-sale now at Amazon if you want to check
Oh,
it out.
perfect. Right
Pre-order.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
pre-order.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks so much, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
being here. Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.